You ever just have something strange happen? Like, I'm not saying demonic cultists stalked me in the middle of the forest, but I mean, that's also not completely out of the question for this story, but I'm honestly getting ahead of myself. We should probably start from the beginning with this story. So, I was on vacation with my family recently, which is the reason I didn't upload anything for a week, and my sister wanted to rent this cabin in unincorporated San Bernardino County to do a family reunion that was really a cover story for her to do a surprise announcement that she was pregnant, as if like everyone in my family didn't know already. But normally I would just say like, oh, I'm busy, and then I'll hear about like what other people said about it later. But it's been pretty hot as shit here in LA, so I was thinking, yeah, I guess I'll go. I'll do the family tour or whatever. I'll pretend to be social this time, just to get away from this shitty old trap house that has no AC. You might hear my fan going loud as fuck right now in the background. Of course, I only realized my mistake after we got there, and I realized that this wasn't some fancy theme park log cabin for tourists. This was like a legit 1800s fucking Lincoln log cabin with no AC, no running water, no electricity, and oh my god, it was hot and humid as shit there. Like, even hotter than here in Torrance, which is where I'm living at the moment. But at the very least, there were windows that opened, and they were retrofitted with bug screens, so I guess it wasn't like a complete and total loss. So when I say this place was remote, I mean, we were driving through the mountains for a while after we left the city. There were small towns on the way that had gas stations, maybe like a single grocery store, but finally we passed the last town before we got to the cabin, but not before we visited the criminally overpriced grocery store in the middle of nowhere. Like, damn, I feel bad for the people, or I guess the cows that live in this town. Like, there was a gas station, maybe 6 houses, and this grocery store, and that was all in this town, really. I'm not even sure if this town had a name. But we turned off on this dirt road and kept driving for another 45 minutes until we got to the place, and it was so remote that if you stood completely still, there was honestly no other noise than like the wind occasionally. Like, it was dead silent. Which, if you've lived in a loud ass city with people honking and listening to music for all your life, like, this alone should be enough to have you on edge. But anyways, so around this whole property, there aren't any fences or anything marking where the property ends. It kind of just like blends from the gravel back to the forest. So I thought that with nothing else to do, I might as well explore the area. And in the unlikely event that someone gets butthurt about me being on their property, I'll just be like, well, there wasn't a fence. I'll just go back to the cabin then, see you later. But I couldn't see another building in the distance from the cabin, so I doubt there would even be like any people out there to yell at me. So I was walking along one of the trails that led from the back of the property into the forest, and it was a much narrower path than the vehicle path that we took to get to the cabin, like by driving. There's probably like a hiking path or maybe a dirt bike path or something. I don't know. I don't fucking spend time outdoors in state parks and shit. This is all like foreign to me pretty much. So I was walking along this path for about 15 minutes, and I remember the path widened for a bit, and there was a table in the middle of the forest with benches on both sides of it, right? And a pretty large roof that covered about 20 feet in both directions. Like, it was made out of solid logs of wood that had like that tacky and sticky finish that like old furniture has, like, you know, that kind of varnish thing. But it surprisingly didn't have any graffiti or like penises and swastikas carved into it, you know, like you'd expect for like a average park bench over here. So I wasn't sure if this was part of like a state park or if it was even on the same property as the cabin, or was it public property? I don't know. That was unsure to me. But the strangest part of the story was the book on this table. I wish I had taken more pictures of it, but I think you'll see why I decided not to do that as I go on. So, on the table in the middle of the woods, with no other structures visible from any directions, is this giant dark blue tome, like an enormous and heavy book. Like, I'd have to use 2 hands to pick it up. That's how fucking heavy it is. And all it had on it was, and it had a small golden capital G on it with no other identifying markers. Not on the cover, not on the spine, not on the back. Just on the front, there was a capital G. It was kind of small too, like towards the top. But, so I opened it and I looked at the first page and there was no author, no title, no copyright information. In fact, you can see right here, this is the first page, this picture that I'm showing on the screen. So you can just see that for yourself. The book is in extremely good shape, despite how old it looks. Like, the pages were not even yellowed from age, despite this clearly being a book from like the mid-20th century. The pages weren't like brittle and wavy from humidity damage like you would expect from a book this old, let alone one that's been left outside in an unenclosed area like a park bench. And this thing looked old. Like, I'm no expert on like colors and printing and color printing and stuff, but like, just judging from like the printing style, it looks like it's from like the 50s or like at the latest like the 60s. Like, I don't know, you can just tell that they don't make books like this anymore. Like, the manufacturing process is just different. So let's talk about the actual contents of the pages themselves. So this is the first page of the book, and there's all this like weird esoteric symbolism, and I just noticed this now after reviewing the footage, but that G is the same G that was on the cover of the book, like the same style, same like font, typesetting, all that. And there's also these like weird astronomical patterns in the top left. There's like this purple pattern in the middle that kind of looks like solar panels, like the kind you'd see on like a satellite. And then there's like these Egyptian pillars, like, yeah, I don't really know what any of this is or what it's supposed to symbolize, but let's just go to the next page here. So down here you can see again this same G symbol. I think the one on the cover actually did have this this other stuff around it too. See, I didn't really notice any of this when I was like first just like taking pictures and flipping through this book, because in my mind I wasn't like here to do some fucking what's that Nicolas Cage movie, National Treasure or whatever. I wasn't there to do that in this forest. I was just like taking a hike, basically, like killing time, and I just like took pictures of this stuff. But now that I look at it closer, there's like this like weird, like here in the top right, there's like this weird creepy eye, and then there's like these Jewish stars lining the page. Like, I don't know if you can see them, so I guess I'll zoom in a little bit here. You see that like on the top right? There's that the eye that I was talking about. You can see the hexagram, 6-pointed stars. And then down here you see the G. This was like the one on the cover, except it was gold. It wasn't orange. But like, yeah, it's like, what do they mean by all this? Then there's like this weird writing, like Knights Templar, Sublime Prince's secret chapter. Like, what the hell is any of this? So there was one more page I took a picture of. This is technically the 4th page because the 3rd page is just blank. I think. I don't remember. I think it was blank. I would have probably taken a picture of it if it wasn't. And there's that G symbol again. It's just ever present and on every page. But down here at the bottom, there's this like, I mean, this is a pentagram, right? Like, I haven't seen this version with these weirdo ass markings on it, and at this point, this was where I stopped looking at the book when I saw this pentagram, and I just started like looking around the forest again, and I just noticed like, oh, it's dead silent. Like, the sun was setting, so it wasn't nighttime yet. Like, yeah, it wasn't midday, but like there should still be birds chirping and bugs and stuff making noise, but it was just a little bit too quiet for my liking, so I decided that at that point I would just close the book, leave it exactly how I found it, and head back to the cabin before it got dark. And As I was heading back and was like thinking about basically what I just saw, I like had more time to process it. I think that was when it started to become unnerving because I was thinking like not about the dumb like symbols or whatever. Like I don't care about that stuff, but like this is a very very old book that is in it's in an unnaturally good condition, and it looked like it had been placed there pretty recently, like maybe a day or two at most. Like look at these pages again. I'm just gonna go through them. Like there's like the pages are white. There's no yellowing. You know, like if this was outside for even like a week, I feel like the pages would have like wrinkle from the humidity. Like it was super humid there, and this was like the middle of the mountains. There was like mist everywhere and shit. It was also hot too, and not to mention like UV exposure would have yellowed the pages. So that means that, in my opinion, the book probably would have had to been placed there very recently, like yeah, a day or two at most. And when I got back, I didn't mention the book or anything thing being weird on my little hike to anyone else that was there, because like, how would you even respond to that? Like, oh, you found a satanic book on the table? Huh, that's weird. All right, let's grill some meat now. So I moved on with my day, ready to just forget about it. Like, that was the first day, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. Like, we were there for a week. That was the first night, but later on, my brother-in-law pulls me aside at like 3 a.m. after all the kids were already sleeping, and he said that he was laying in bed. He said that he was laying in bed and he had heard the gravel shift, like someone was standing, like not really moving too much, but like they shifted their weight slightly. And like just from that description, I could tell he was on edge because of how like specifically he described it. Because for context, they had to sleep with the doors completely open because the room they were in didn't have any windows. Like it was just two doors that opened to the outside. Or it opened to like a little patio, but the patio wasn't like enclosed. Like you could easily get in. And or maybe not like a patio. Hold on, let me say it again. Because for context, they had to sleep with the doors completely open because the room they were in was the only room that didn't have windows in it. It just had two doors that opened to like the outside, like this little wooden platform that was outside the house, like an unenclosed patio kind of. And it was just outrageously hot and humid there, so having them closed just like wasn't really an option. But I was thinking, okay, this is probably a mountain lion or something. It'll get scared if it sees like a group of adults walking at it with a flashlight and probably just like run away or like turn around. So I said, okay, let's go take a look. Just in case it wasn't a mountain lion and it was a person, there were two guns in the house. I had a 44 caliber revolver that I always keep on me, and my sister has a little like 9mm pistol that she has in her purse. And I also had a 12 gauge Mossberg in my car. So I told my sister, so I told my sister to just wait in the house with her tiny ass gun that like realistically it wouldn't do anything to a mountain lion other than just piss it off. And I gave her husband my flashlight and said, "All right, let's go get the shotgun out of my car." And it was honestly like some kind of fucking Splinter Cell mission or something. We grabbed my shotgun and the ammo bag with all the boxes of ammo that I had in my car, which were mostly target loads, which, for those who don't know, that's like a worse version of birdshot. Like, you'll probably do more damage shooting the wad than the actual, like, lead against a mountain lion, but I ended up finding some slugs in that ammo bag and I just loaded them into the shotgun. And, as I was standing there thinking, I was like, damn, this shit's like longer than a Kentucky rifle. Like, good luck maneuvering that 28-inch barrel indoors. But we all just went to sleep after that because it was like late. It was like 5 a.m. at this point, and they told me that after that they didn't hear a thing, and I never found out exactly what was walking on the gravel that night.